to the Sports Reverends podcast. My name is Dan, and I'm joined by my big bro, the coach. Many of you know him as Coach Joel. He's not only a coach on the basketball court, he's also a coach in the stock markets as well. So, Coach, before we dive into anything, I wanted to ask, how's your week going?
It has been a long week. It's been a long week already. It's only Tuesday, but that's okay. The sun's out. It's double digits out here in Toronto.
Come on.
So we can't really complain. How about you? How's your couple days been?
My couple days, well, it's been an interesting one. Today, this very day, I had an eye procedure, and it went okay. You know, I'm alive, I'm well, and
Wearing a patch?
no eye patch. I was gonna take your idea and put an eye patch on and send it to mom and see how she reacts, but no, I didn't want to do that. You know, I didn't want to give her a heart attack or anything like that. But boy, do we got a yeah, exactly. But boy, do we got a special show today. I'm excited for what we got in store. You know, a lot of podcasts, they give something to take away. Some will make you laugh. Some will help you in the gym getting gains. Some will help you try to earn some money. And a lot of those are get rich quick schemes. Our podcast has something better than all those things put together. We actually have the solution to every single one of your problems. I know that sounds crazy, but we actually have the solution to every problem you've ever had. You know, our background growing up and all the challenges that life has thrown to us, there's been a solution to it that has solved them all, and that's our faith in Christ. Sports has played a huge role in helping develop our faith in Christ, but our faith in Christ is what's pulled us out of the mud. It's what helped us in the toughest times, and we want to share that with you and encourage you, especially if you're going through a tough time right now, maybe you're going through a stormy season in life. This is a great way for that to turn around. So this is what our podcast is about our unapologetic faith. You'll hear some hot sports takes along the way. So, Coach, let's get a rundown of the show.
All right, let's go with our top 5 quick hitters for the week. We're going to talk about the big March Madness tournament, give you our picks, but it'll probably differ quite a bit in some areas. But this is the best weekend coming up in basketball, I think. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be fun. And then I think I titled the real talk here, does being a Christian mean you have to be meek, or does it mean you can be strong? Or simply put, does meek mean weak? So why don't you just up with our first quick hitter of the day?
All right. New Orleans Pelicans. Troy Murphy is out for the rest of the season with a torn labrum. That's probably good for the Pelicans because they're trying to tank.
As the tanking intensifies. March Madness, Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston are this year's number 1 seeds, the men's NCAA tourney.
Come on. Cincinnati Bengals finally signed Jamar Chase, 4 years, $161 million, and T. Higgins for 4 years, $115 million contract extensions. Jamar Chase is the highest paid non-quarterback.
There you go. They backed up the Brinks truck. Let's see here. Jalen Brunson, remains out for a couple more weeks with his ankle injury, so we could see him back closer to postseason.
Knicks are in trouble. And lastly, Rory McIlroy defeats JJ Spawn in play to win the Players' Championship. Wow.
Yep, the golf season is back at it, full swing. So, see, full swing, get it?
There you go.
And yeah, there you go. And
you know
we're
what?
back, so
before we dive into the commercial, a lot of people shared with me how much they loved when you said another kind of pun like that, the pitter patter, let's get at her. It made me sick, but a lot of people liked it. All right, so
sick,
you do your thing.
Because they got taste.
Yeah, I guess so.
Got
to reevaluate some of my friendships there.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking about doing my thing, we're going to talk about Train to Invest, which is a training course that helps you learn how to invest in the stock market. Cut out the middleman. Give your capital to a middleman and let somebody else invest your money. They are not going to take care of it as much as you will. So why not learn the skills essential to trading and to making a profit by following a proven methodology that you yourself will learn and make decisions on to make money in the stock market in these uncertain times and in certain, let's call it, money's coming in from your paychecks. You got to find a way to stretch that dollar. So why not learn how to maximize the return on your investments? Check us out at www.train. Download the free ebook, give us a read, and get in contact us and see if we're a fit for what you want to do. We're not a fit for everybody. That's okay. But if you're willing to learn and put in some time so that you can learn a new set of skills, pass that down to your spouse, or you even learn with your spouse, pass it down to your kids. And if you want to learn how to change your life, check us out www.train, the number 2invest.com, train2invest.com. There we go.
All right.
So here's as talking about a fun fact about money. The NCAA, the men's tournament, is the biggest uh, illegal gambling of all in the United States. There's so much money put on this in office pools and like random people jumping in. You hear the stories of like randos who pick the teams based on their color or their name, end up winning their office pool. So
Mascots.
that's a
Yeah.
the mascots, yeah. So
The
this is
big
a
one.
fun way for people to get involved, what we call the neutrals in our wonderful game of basketball. So why don't we start off with who do you have going to the final four? Let's just get right at it.
All right, this is big. This is my final four picks. Now it's tough to give this away because I know people that we're playing against are in our pools and things like that. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
Have
It's time to
confidence.
share some, and let's put the caveat here as well that, like you said, most people that win aren't the ones that have been following college basketball like diehards. Not that I have been. I've been paying attention, but I haven't followed it like a diehard. But I do have more knowledge than probably the average Joe. But the average Joe, I'm telling you, they gave you a run for the money. Here we go. My top final four picks in the NCAA March Madness bracket are: number one, Auburn makes it in from the South.
Mm,
Okay. Number in the, okay, let me just make this right here. The South side is Auburn. The West
who's West?
side is, oh, wait, Auburn is West. The West side is, here you go. Here you go. Here's a good one. St. Joe's, Rick Pitino.
Hey,
Number two, good for him. He's really like revived that program. In the Midwest,
big time.
another top team, the number one, Houston, University Houston, is in the final four. And then in the final East bracket is my arch nemesis. I cannot go against them.
I
Surprising. I know it really made me sick submitting this. The Duke Blue Devils.
I mean, your team isn't even in it technically yet. We don't even know if they're gonna make it.
They're playing
So
tonight.
who
They're
else can you
playing
choose?
tonight. So
Playing Tuesday night. That's I like that. I like that. I would say
Auburn, St.
we're
Joe's,
pretty
Houston, Duke.
we're pretty close. I got Texas A&M, a couple upsets along the way. I got St. Joe's.
Okay.
I
Wow.
got Houston. Yeah, Houston and Duke. So we're pretty close. On the one side of the bracket, we're probably pretty much similar on that piece. And then I have Duke winning over St. Joseph's in the finals.
I have Duke
That's my
winning
finals.
over Auburn.
That Auburn team is tough.
Do you have a
It is tough.
number for a total combined final score for the
Yes,
tiebreaker?
157.
Okay, we're pretty close as well. I'm one
Okay.
six three, six
Okay.
three.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So not too bad. Not too bad.
So we'll
Yeah, I
post
think it's exciting.
we'll post our picks,
Yeah,
and we'll
sure.
make sure everyone can see, and you guys can comment on your picks as well. Are there any teams that you can see as a Cinderella, as you can see upsets? Usually upsets and Cinderellas are the first two rounds. Historically, it's the
So,
top teams that
yeah,
will make it to the final fours, except for UConn that one year when they beat UNC.
that one year, yeah. So I picked every 12 versus 5 as the
Whoa.
12 seed winning the first game. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know the math behind it. The probability states that at least two of the 12 seeds will advance.
Wow.
It's crazy. So I always went all in. I picked every 12. So then we got on the 12 side, I got UCSD, which is who is there actually? I don't even know who they are. I just picked them. UCSD.
UCSD.
UC San Diego. UC San Diego. I'm like, all right,
Okay.
we're going in the bag here. I also have COST, and who are these guys? I don't even know who they are. We picked them. We got COST, which is Colorado State University.
Wow.
Yeah. Here we go. My number 12 is MCNS on the brackets, which is going to be Clemson. They are where are they? MCNS, McNeese State University.
Oh my, you got them beating
Yeah.
Clemson. Wow.
I got them beating Clemson. I went and Liberty University over Oregon.
Wow.
So if you want some kind of prop bets, you go 12 versus 5 and you typically do that. But in all seriousness, I think it's very hard to um pick these things because it's one and done.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as a 7 game series. where you kind of know talent plays out or matchups play out. How about you? Any sort of big upsets on your side?
So this is subject to change depending on tonight's games because UNC is playing San Diego State. San Diego State is a very good team as well. They have
Why?
whoever wins that game also winning their first round matchup versus
Ooh,
it will be against it should be against I think it's not Missouri. It is
it's Illinois.
Illinois. Illinois will be against Texas probably. So both. Okay. So whoever wins the game that UNC plays, I believe they'll I can't remember who exactly they're playing. There'll be an 11th seed, I think it is.
I think it's Illinois.
I have them going to the next round. Yeah, to me it's going to be UNC versus Missouri and Texas versus Illinois. So both 11 seeds they're playing today. They're going to get if they both get in, I have them going to the next round as well. So they're going to win their first
Wow.
round matches. The 11 versus 6 is where I'm taking the upsets where they get to the next round.
Okay. I think, you have we originally thought it when they put this first four as gimmicky and kind of just a way to get more money, but you put them in this like the 11th slot there. Those are pretty strong teams
Yeah.
typically.
Mhm.
Like it's either a team that had some injuries or underperformed in their conference tourney. Talent is there. So it's going to be interesting. I think I what's your favorite part of college basketball?
Favorite part of college basketball is that anybody, for the most part, has a chance to win that one game. Any team has a shot, and it's a lot more pure basketball, right? The traveling has been cut down. The the rules are tighter. There's less superstar calls. There's defenses that will be full court pressing and throwing
Mhm.
different zones, and because the talent level is not as good as the NBA, so the offenses aren't just going to be able to just run through everyone. So
Throw
I
everything, yeah.
love that part. I love that there's just a lot more intense one game all on the line, no superstar calls. It's like it's just pure basketball, and for the most part it's good basketball as well. There are some teams that they look like they're chickens with their heads cut off, and
That's
that's
some
the
guts,
youth,
yeah.
but that adds an element to like the funness of it, right? The mistakes.
Yes. The unpredictability. Yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah. And
why a lot
I
of
think
people like the CFL, right? There's mistakes in the CFL and it makes the game kind of very unpredictable. So I think that's like an
it's
element that they have here.
yeah, it's definitely more wide open. It's more wide open. I think that's a great point. Yeah, I think the passion for the game is really evident because you
True.
have these kids, they're young men, and I guess young women as well who are playing, who are totally invested in winning. They're not thinking about, "Oh, I gotta travel here in my private plane and whatever," or "We're going out tonight to the club." Like, they're totally, like, bought in, they're focused. Even the guys who are only sticking around for 1 year, like, they know this is their shot to push themselves up the rankings. So, the part that I really like about it is a passion, but also it fills in for the tanking in the NBA that's become rampant in
Mm.
the last decade or so. And it's refreshing to see. I think you're right. The different types of defenses, the specialization, like you get guys like Jimmer Fredette, right, who light it up all of a sudden, get that special Yukon team with Charlie V and Ben Gordon, those guys. That's going back. And you get a lot of teams where they play quote unquote the right way. They move the ball, they share it. You see a lot of uh, positional defense in the right way. And that's something you can't quite get in the NBA because at the NBA, everybody is incredible, right? Just the baseline guys are incredible. Then you have the mid tier, then you have like the superstars.
Let's talk about that skill gap just for 1 second. Because did you
Yeah, sure.
see Brian Scalabrine
Yes,
go to the middle
the
of
New
New
York
York?
baller.
And that was incredible because this guy this West Fort street baller, right? He's
Yeah,
been a bully forever. Like he just bullies. I've watched some clips of him, and Brian Scalabrine just is like, "No, you're not having this with me, man." And he whoops him 11-0, and the guy's just been like hacking him the whole time. So Brian Scalabrine's like,
yeah,
"Okay, you want to play this way? I'll give it to you right back." So you can see the skill gap from NBA. These guys are incredible compared to the even the college kids. Just it's that
yeah.
next level.
And let's be real. All of us said, "Oh, I can guard this guy. I can do this." It's night and day. It's like toddlers versus varsity. Like there's no chance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no chance, right? And yeah, that Scalabrine clip was insane because I've seen this guy on social media, and to be honest, he's not good. He's not good. He can hit shots, sure, but you got these. I don't know who is playing defense on this guy, where they don't shuffle. They're like 6 feet off of him. I mean, yeah, it's social media, right? So the clips look good, but I think the first bucket he just tried to like hug Scalabrini
Yeah.
and then got upset when he swung his elbow. I'm like, look, old man, you challenged Brian Scalabrine, and this is what you pay.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah. And he's actually younger than
but
Scal. He just looks old. I'm pretty sure.
oh, is he?
Yeah, so I'm pretty
Oh,
sure this
wow.
guy kind of like just came up from the streets, and he's gotten a deal with like I'm pretty sure it's with Nike and like a few other places. Like he's got some deals because of his social media popularity. And Scal was just
Sure,
like
sure.
he took the mic, and that one guy had all his
Yeah,
boys there,
yeah,
right? And he's just like he laid it
yeah,
down. He's like, I'm telling you, this is how it's going. So
yeah,
that's what I love
yeah.
about
So,
college basketball, because there's that just whole pure straight level. I think that's what Cooper Flagg and the Duke University team, they're just a different beast to deal with. So we'll see how it goes. Anyone can win in one game,
yeah,
but it'll be a lot of fun. It's finally got a little more juice to it again. This college March Madness.
yeah. It feels like there's more talent, and the playing field seems a little more even versus when we were growing up, and you knew that the top seeds were going to upset. We're not going to get upset until the later rounds, or a Cinderella team. Like there's so many quote unquote Cinderella stories that it's exciting, it's fun, and breathe a breath of fresh air. Plus, for all you young kids out there, if you're looking to emulate basketball players, you look at the college guys. Those are the skills you got to have. You got to set your feet when you're shooting. You got to shuffle on defense. You got to box out when you rebound. Because not everybody's blessed with God-given talent athletically, like these NBA players are.
And
So
height.
you gotta and height, yeah, and height. So you gotta have a strong fundamentals if you wanna play longer, because you can see when you play pickup ball, guys who are maybe older but they have strong fundamentals and they just use that to out position guys, out muscle guys, get to the right spots. Like it's incredible. It's incredible.
Let me ask you one question before we wrap up the college talk. So we know that there will be a couple stars that will emerge and be good in the NBA, maybe even like Cooper Flagg could be a superstar, has potential. Will there be a Steph Curry like level player in the tournament that will emerge from this draft class this year that you can think of? Or you don't even have to name it if there is one or not.
I I'm I again I haven't followed as ton as I would have liked to this year. Life gets in the way. But just looking at kind of who's the top 25, top 30, it's there's no one that really sticks out in terms of generational talent. Now, that doesn't mean they're not there, because Curry Davidson was not considered generational talent.
Not at all.
He got picked over twice by the T Wolves for different point guards, Johnny Flynn and Rookie Rubio, I believe.
That's right.
So, I mean, Ricky Rubio had a pretty good career. Johnny Flynn, I mean, he made the league, but I'm pretty sure that the T Wolves would have loved to have Steph Curry.
Oh, yes.
But that being said, I think this is the fun part of projecting players, is you never know what they're gonna do. Like I'll take easy example, Zion Williamson. That guy, when
Right.
he plays, is an absolute terror. Unstoppable, unguardable, scores so many points and rebounds, is just amazing. But the dude can't stay healthy. Greg Oden, same thing. But Kevin Durant, like he was he changed how players were looked at in the NCAA tourney. And again, you have guys like Steph Curry, who are, again, he's kind of the exception to the rule, but came out of nowhere and now changed the entire face about basketball, right? So it's hard to pinpoint that, because hey, these are guys that are like 18, 19, and 20. Their bodies are still filling out, right? They're gonna go against grown men, and they're not gonna do well for the most part unless they beef up. Like look at Grady Dick. His first year in the league, he looked like a lost, confused little boy. And that's nothing against him. I mean, it's the game's faster, the guys are stronger, and he's still developing. But you still I see what a year in the NBA did for his game and for his physique, and it's like a whole new thing. So I think it's really important for as we look into this. There's a gap between college and first year NBA, and there's a gap between year one and year two for sure.
True. That's true. There's one player I'll get you to look out for. I may even change this in my bracket. I have Texas playing them, and like I said, Texas may not be there. Illinois. I always say Illinois is 6'6". Kasparis Jakusianis. All right, he's from
Ooh,
Lithuania. He's 18, 6'6" point guard. Okay, he plays and he's going to play for Illinois, and he can shoot it. He can do his pro comparison is Chauncey Billups. Okay, so he's a young 18-year-old
Wow.
Lithuanian, so he's to look out for. The other prospect who won't be playing in the tournament. He's playing in Israel, I believe. Is another 6'5" European point guard Ben Seraf. So they're both projected to be lottery picks. Both these
Wow.
tall point guards that can move the ball, that can shoot the three, that can get to the hoop. Those are the kind of guys I'm looking for. So that's kind of, I think, the new wave for point guard is 6'5", 6'6", can shoot it and pass it.
With
Yeah,
length. Yeah.
length.
The
Yeah,
length helps for sure. Interesting. I good job on the names. I
there
don't
you
know how
go.
long you practiced that for, but excellent work
I
there.
I could have very
But
much butchered them, so I have no idea.
we'll
Just
never
said it
know.
with
We'll never know.
confidence.
So, guys and ladies and gents, whoever's listening today and down the line, shoot us on your Instagram. Who is your upset pick of the tournament? Get it in before Thursday, and let's see some fun picks and fun ideas. Who knows? Duke may not have Cooper Flag. They could go out in the first or second round. You never know. You never know. But let's not put that into existence here. I need a trophy. I need a trophy hangout. All right, all right. Let's transition here to the fun part of the show. The best part, in our opinion, is the real talk. And as we were talking pre-show, bullying in sports is rampant, and bullying in life is rampant. Do you have a story in your sports career about you getting bullied or you bullying someone? Now, again, this could also be bullying in the sense of you were just dominating, or could it be in the sense of bullying where people were looking down and taking one out of you?
Yeah, no, definitely do. I feel like growing up as in my own sports career, always kind of had the underdog look and underdog mentality. There was a kid couple years older than me, and I won't say name because that's just like it's whatever. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a bully, man. Like he would try to intimidate me before tryouts even started, before any of that came to it. And then in practice, we'd be taking the cheap shots. He'd be trying to stick his foot under my foot when I'm shooting, kind of thing. Like he was a dirty player. He was older by a couple years, so he had some maturity that way in that sense in his size and all that. Yeah, so I had to kind of deal with him that way, and it was actually a pretty cool story. We're playing in a game, and he totally got cheap shotted by someone else, and I was the first one in the court to go and back him up, and getting the just stand up for him. And from that point on, is that kind of changed our whole relationship. He stopped, because the rest of the team really didn't like him either, and no one else really backed him up. It was just me stepping in there because I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to let some other team take a cheap shot like that. He was going up for a layup and got pushed from behind, like straight up cheap shot, and
Oh wow.
he like smashed into
That's
like the
rough.
wall, and but that kind of changed the relationship of how we started interacting. I'm sure there's a whole lesson right there we can take from it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, back to you.
Name one thing that you really learned from hardship in your sports career, or even something that you've learned, from watching sports on TV.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, the place where I've learned and grown the most is self control. I see so many players, that's where they fall into the it's so easy to get into their head, and they get in their head space, and and then they can't hit free throws, and they get frustrated, they get technicals, and being able to have self-control, develop self-control, it even helps you when you're under pressure. If you're a point guard and you're facing a full court press and you're be able to handle pressure, it helps you to be able to obviously run the offense in a better way. So being able to do that emotionally, being able to put all that other stuff aside and say, you know what, none of that's going to bother me. I'm just going to keep doing my thing, my job, my duty. Then it helps you in the long run. So that definitely, I would say, self control is where I grew the most in my sports career. It's helped me in life in the greatest way.
Just for any of you guys who ever play a pickup with Daniel, if he's on the other team and you hear him going, I'm open, don't pass him the ball. There's so many times where he'll just come to the half court line and be like, I'm open, and people just, hey, he's on my team. And so you just gotta watch this. That's just the self-control bit helps you also see things that when people are struggling or they don't quite have the full grasp on things. No, that's I think those are good points. Has there been a time where you have lost self-control and not done the right thing?
Yeah, like there's been times where I let
Anything that sticks out?
there's nothing major. I would say there's times where I've let my mouth run a little rampant there and maybe mouthed off at the ref too much or mouthed off at another player too much. But really, that wasn't me too often. A few times for
Mm,
sure. I'm not perfect at it in any kind of way, but I would say that would be the biggest one. How
yeah,
about
that's fair.
yourself?
Well, let's start with the bad side, I guess. I would say I would say that pride would have been one of my biggest downfalls because I remember, and we've had John Brothers on the show before, and it was I think grade 10, and there's of course you come in, you think, oh man, I'm gonna be JV, blah blah blah. They want me to come play varsity, but now I'm gonna hang with my boys. Get a bit of an inflated ego, and I knew John could shoot some threes. The dude could shoot. But I'm like, "Oh, he's just kind of like this short, fat little white guy, and whatever. Like, it's still my team, still my team." And I remember in practice, we were running a half court set, and John got the ball probably 2 feet away from half. And then so of course I'm sagging back, and he just takes one dribble, money. And I said, "Give me a break." Okay, he gets one. Next down on the court, I'm still sitting back, boom. And I looked at our coach, and he's like, "Well, are you gonna guard him or?" I'm just like, uh, I what? And that kind of point of moment, I'm like, okay, the guy can shoot. I know I'm maybe quicker than he is. Maybe I'm better at going to the hoop, but he's a significantly better shooter than me. I got to get up and step on, press on him. Otherwise, I'm gonna get embarrassed. I'm gonna look like a clown in front of my team, and that's not exactly what I want to do. So pride was something I would say that at times, not all the time, at times was something that had to rein yourself in. In terms of the bullying aspect, I think I got it a lot when I went to like provincial tryouts, district team tryouts. Um, and they're like, "Okay, where you from?" "Oh, I'm from Linden Christian School."
Yeah.
"Oh, where?" "Linden Christian." And at that point, I'll be honest, no one had heard of Linden Christian before really I started playing basketball. Not that I was great, but when your graduating class ahead of you 2 years is like 10 people and then 15, like, there's not a lot of rep there.
Mhm.
So, when they heard that, I didn't get past the ball a lot, I had to really work hard. Coaches would kind of not look at me in terms of positions and stuff. Like, I was team MVP for provincials, but they didn't look at me to go to the states team because I went to Linden Christian. And then when I went through that circuit throughout the whole year playing the public schools, every coach dapped me up, all the guys dapped me up. They knew who I was. But because I went to a small little school that no one cared about, I didn't get the invite to go play with the big team. And I think that for me really taught me perseverance. And I'll
Mhm.
give a shout out to mom. She had enrolled me when I was, I think, in grade 6 with the grade 7 and 8 team. She talked to the coach, put me up with a bunch of these other guys, and they whooped me. They whooped him. Remember, Niles was my coach, this Filipino guy, just jacked, and he ran us. And but I was one of the guys a year or two older than me, and they took me to school, but I persevered. I didn't let them come down. I still worked hard, and that's something I took through all of my sports and into university and into life. Is when you get knocked down, you really only have two options: get up or you stay down, right? I think that ties into kind of what we're talking about here with our faith. You typically think we have a Christian, you think of somebody who's meek, somebody who's quiet. The first thing that comes to most people's mind is turn the other cheek, and the expectation is you're going to be a person who just takes it, right? What are your thoughts on that perspective of Christianity that permeates throughout the world today? Do you think it's accurate? Do you think it's true? Do you think the stereotype fits because we make it fit? What are some of your thoughts on that?
That's a big question. I think it depends on your circumstance for sure. We'll talk North America, we'll say for now. And North America, we definitely, as Christ followers, we back down for sure. The tendency is to feel like we need to accept people's actions and not necessarily retaliate. Let it go is kind of our first attribute to do. When in reality, I think we've talked about this a little bit. We've seen a change. We've seen a shift in the culture where it's gone to the point where we've as in our Christian views, people will say, "Oh, that's very Judeo-Christian of you," and that's an insult nowadays. And I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa, let's just pause for a second here. This is what has built. This is what our nation was built on here, first and foremost, and clearly that's what we stand on as well. And it's helped us stand up. I think it's helped a lot of people stand up a little more strong that way. So there has been a shift. I think there needs to kind of be a greater shift in not in terms on the court, but keeping your circle. So with my teammates, even if I'm playing the men's league now and stuff like that, if I know them and they're walking with me, whether they're Christ followers or not, I'm keeping them in check in things that I don't want them to cross the line in. So I people can swear all they want to me. I don't care. But when they use the Lord's name in vain, I have a relationship with them, I can check them on that and say, "Hey man, that's crossing a line for me. Can you respect what I believe in too?" And when you check them, if you have relationship, if you have that friendship with, they understand, right? And they don't disrespect that from you. They actually see, wow, this guy's actually standing up for something he believes in, even though it's been a part of their regular vocal vocabulary their whole life. But when you check them on it, so it's where you have to stand. There's places where you have to have grace, and they come from a different standpoints, but there's also places where you need to stand up and say, you know what, this is what I'm about, and get on board with me. And it's really having that stronger influence and more walking in faith about it as well. Because I think people are more understanding than we think. We get so worried to share some truth with them. And at the end of the day, when they hear some truth, they get encouraged by that truth. And they see you live it out, they see something different in you. When you walk in the ways of the world, you find out pretty quickly how empty it is, how empty the satisfaction that you receive is. It's temporary, it's so short. You get with a girl, you feel terrible the next morning, right? You had a great party on the weekend, but the rest of your week, you feel crappy about it because you know what? Now your body feels like crap, and you made some dumb decisions along the way, and it catches up to you. And that satisfaction, as it gives you some temporary relief, it catches up to you. But when you live out the faith, that's something that is everlasting. It's something that you can't experience, you can't gain from the ways of the world. And that's what I keep on trying to preach, and I try to live that out and share that as well.
Yeah, I think that's great points, great points. And I think the core of what you're talking about is it starts with how you live your life, right? And how you view your relationship with God. If you view it as just a Sunday morning thing, then you're not going to care about it during the week. If you view it as this is what I'm doing consistently, it's not just a set of rules of do's and don'ts, it's a lifestyle, and it permeates through me, then it's a different story. Then you're already doing the things like building relationships. You're already doing the things like sharing your faith, and people know who you are. And so, for that example of like, so if somebody uses God's name in vain, they may not even know it's a big deal, right? And you may just say, hey, you know what, man, that doesn't vibe with me. Don't, please stop. And they're going to be like, okay, yeah, no big. For the most part, they're going to be not. They don't care, right? Or they might even ask you a question like, well, what is it? Why? Why does that bother you? Right. So I think the core tenets come down to how do you live out your faith? You think of Jesus, the typical painting is Jesus is he's got his nice white robe on, his hair is done nice, and he's very serene. You forget that he grew up as a carpenter. I was just thinking about this as you're talking. I'm like, I bet you Jesus was semi jacked,
Yeah.
right? Like he's wandering around, like he's a carpenter. He's doing running for years because like he whipped tables out of the temple, right? He was like strong enough to carry the cross, things like that, right? Like he when you think of a Christian, we talk about putting on the whole armor of God. You can't be soft to put on armor, right? When you think of a knight, prototypically, it's 6'3" solid dude, and he's got this heavy armor on riding a giant horse. And that's why the title of does meek mean weak? God isn't asking you to be soft and to be a weakling. Now, humble is I think is different than being meek. Quiet is different than being meek, but you can be quiet and still be strong in your faith, right? Like for those of you who know me, on the basketball court, I'm a very loud person. When we go out with friends, I'm very loud because you're putting on a bit of a face. But when I'm by myself and or just hanging in a small group, you're quiet and I'm not so boisterous. But that doesn't mean my faith has changed. That doesn't mean my intensity of my understanding has changed. It's just that's the core tenet of who I am. And as fellow believers, I think you're right. We need to take a stand, and how we take that stand is very important. And I think of a couple of times at church where people have come to you after the service, and maybe they're non-believers, maybe they're homosexual, and there's like different things, and they have a conversation with you. There's no shouting, there's no upending of chairs or cursing or anything like that. It's just a conversation. And I know you do a really good job of having that conversation and inviting them back to saying like and playing this is an open place for you guys to come in and learn more about God. And I think I think this is the Pastor Dan coming out, not my Daniel the little brother coming out, but the Pastor Dan coming out. It's like the maturity of your faith to say, I need to meet these people where they're at, not where I want them to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's what we see kind of across the board. We'll say Canadian church culture is the appeasement. We don't want to offend anybody. It's like the NBA culture. Like we were talking about how the Suns are looking at firing Coach Budenholzer to appease Kevin Durant and Devin Booker so that they can still come back and play. When the fault is on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, it's on them. For them to be in the 11th spot is unbelievable to me. We had them in the top six, I'm pretty sure, preseason. And we talked about the point guard, the Tyus Jones, all this stuff. And look at them now. And when we do that in your faith, that's when it's just like you're walking a really slippery slope. And I never want to do that. You can always come to a disagreement in love with people. And the reality is that you're planting a seed. The Holy Spirit will do a work in their life if they allow the Holy Spirit to do it, right? So if there's a couple that's homosexual and we're having that conversation, we do disagree, but we disagree in love. And I always share with them, you're always welcomed here, but we're still going to preach the Bible. We're not going to change it. And the goal is for you to grow in your faith and for you to find out if you bring it to God and you can come to that conclusion and allow the Holy Spirit to do the convicting there. So we're not going to change what the Bible has to say, not to appease anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at TV shows that do parodies. Everybody is ready to make fun of Christians, and because they know that no one's gonna say anything, no one's gonna write them death threats, no one's gonna post on social media, kill the creators of so and so. But that doesn't mean that we are soft. That doesn't mean that we have to appease. There you can be tolerant, but you have to still stick to your guns, right? You still have to stick to what does the Bible say? And like you said, it's okay to disagree with somebody and disagree with them with love, and this that may also strain relationships within your family. That may strain relationship within your friend group or people at work, and you have to be okay with that. And one of the things that I've been thinking about if I ever get onto the pulpit is what is truth? Because truth today is no longer black and white. It's all based on what people think. But in reality, we know that truth is black and white. We know that the gray areas are only existing in our mind when we want to get away with something or make it fit into a certain point of view. Truth isn't relative, it's absolute. And at the end of the day, you have to remember that there's going to be a time when Jesus comes again. Whether you're around to see it or not is a different story, but he's coming again. And if you don't do everything possible in your life to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way and share about God's love with your loved ones, with people that he puts into your life, those are missed opportunities. Those are missed opportunities. So, we get wrapped up in all sorts of things like, hey, I gotta work, I gotta make money, I gotta go see my girl, gotta go see my guy, we gotta go do this, grocery shopping, walk the dog, all this kind of stuff. We get wrapped up in that the day to days, so we forget the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is we have to emulate God's love to those around us and look for those opportunities and live and permeate our faith each and every day.
Yeah, 100%. I love all that. And, it's harder to respond than to just react, right? It's
Oh, that's a good
it's
line.
it's really easy to react, and I want to react a lot of times. It's playing sports, someone gives you an elbow, what do you want to do back? You want to get it back, right? You want to get them back, but you're called to respond and respond the way God wants you to respond.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll give you one last story about basketball career, and we'll wrap it up for today. I, as you may or may not know, have a very bad potty mouth, and sometimes it just slips out. And when I'm get going, I get going, and it's not good. And I can't remember what I was watching, but it was like a reel, not a reel, like a little YouTube clip, and they're talking about Tim Duncan's trash talk. This is before Kevin Garnett even brought it up, and he would just say, Tim Duncan would just be like, "Nice shot, good work," and he would throw guys off, and that sat with me, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't want to swear, I don't want to trash talk anybody in a bad way because that can go sideways, and that's going to take away from the game." but I'm gonna start doing this. And I promise you, like as soon as I started doing it, nice shot, man. And I gave him a dap. Guys were so confused. They would be running their mouth the whole game, and at the end of the game, be like, nice bucket. Oh, you almost had it. My favorite would be when I trapped them on the sideline, and then they couldn't get anywhere, and then just edge them a little bit, and they step out of bounds. So close, man. So close. Next time. Next time. And that just took away from me negatively trash talking somebody by changing my perspective. So if we're playing hoops and I'm huffing and puffing behind you and you do a nice move and you hear me go, "Oh, nice shot." That's me trash talking you. I'm gonna get into your head. Just watch out. So watch out. Last words, Daniel. Anything you want to leave us with before we wrap up today?
Be strong and courageous, Joshua. Joshua teaches that. And that's what we're called to be as Christ followers. We're not weak,
Mm,
we're strong. And we're only strong because of our God. That's it. And that's who gives us
that's
strength.
that's perfect. That's perfect. Guys, you know where to follow us. Find us on Facebook for all you old heads out there, on X, on Instagram. Drop us your upset picks for March Madness.
Come on.
Drop us a story of where maybe you were bullied and persevered, or maybe you were the bullier or the bully, I guess, and changed your ways, or some sort of anecdote about how perseverance has helped you. Remember, as a Christian, be strong and courageous. You're not weak, you're not soft. We love you. Love God, love others, guys. Peace.
Peace.